Hello and welcome to another podcast episode. I think this is my 13th one, and I am really happy to be here, and I have a lot to share with you today. A lot, more than usual. I think I managed to make it to 40 minutes on the last one. It's probably going to be about the same amount of time, so if you haven't got your cuppa, go and grab a cuppa and settle down. I have a peach and rhubarb tea. It's by London Tea. And it's really nice and refreshing, nice and summery. Just what I need. So, I have finished a lot of things and don't think I've started much. I guess I've started some things. And I've got some other news to share with you. I've had some happy mail. So I've got all sorts. It's all sitting on the bench with me here, and I'm just going to pull it up as I see fit. So I'll finish with a finished object. I have finished my November Sky beanie, and this is a pattern by the Cozy Cottage Crochet, Anna Siegmund, and I bought this one on Ravelry. I think she sells on other sites though, so don't worry if you can't access Ravelry, it's available elsewhere. It's a lovely design, and it's worked in front post and back post stitches to give this beautiful V, and then as you saw there on the crown, it brings it in really, really nicely. It's a gorgeous design. And there's so many adaptations. You can make it for different sizes, and it's really clear in the pattern how to go about that. And so there's different sizes, and there's also different levels of slouch. And I have gone for something in the middle because I didn't do as many row repeats as the pattern suggested, but I did make it wider for the size I was going for, if that makes sense. So I've ended up with the slouch I want. I'll try it on for you. It'll look silly because I have no hair at the moment, but in the winter, with a bit of hair sticking out, I think hats just look really silly on me without hair. But in the winter I'll grow my hair again, and we'll have some hair poking out the bottom. And if I turn, I hope that showed up. You can see pictures on Instagram as well, although none of me actually wearing it because it looks silly. I just think, I don't know if it's just me, but I just really don't like a hat without a little bit of hair popping out here and there. But I'm really, really pleased with this design. I think I'll make more. The only, other than changing the size slightly, the only difference I made was to add an extra 2 stitches on the ribbing. I can't remember how many it called for, however many it was. I just prefer a deeper ribbing, so I did an extra 2 stitches in the width across the way, just to make that a bit wider for me. So I'm looking forward to wearing that one this winter, unless my youngest sister nabs it from me, which she may well do because I know she loves this style, so she might, which is okay. It's okay, I have plenty hats and I'm happy if she likes it. I am more than happy for her to have that. So let's pop that over there. The next thing, I think on my last podcast, I went and scribbled a note to chase up my eldest about photography, and I did chase him up, and we did that last Thursday. So it was exactly a week ago. We went and did the photo shoot for my Tweed with a Twist scarf. You can see it here. I'll pop it on, although it's pretty warm today. And I've had to shut the windows because they are firing on the Ministry of Defence firing range, which is just a few miles from my house, and the way the wind's coming and it's repetitive rifle firing, it's very loud, so I've shut the windows to keep that noise out. So I got the photos done, and I realised that I had written in the pattern video to follow, so I hadn't made a video tutorial, but that is now up on YouTube. There's a short version for those who haven't bought the pattern, and then there's a longer version for if you have bought the pattern, and that's an unlisted video which I've put within the pattern. So don't share that. If you do buy the pattern, don't share that because it's kind of hidden, so that only folks with the pattern have access to that. It just gives a little bit more detail. If I was to put that as a public one, you'd basically be able to just go away and make the scarf. So I've put it as hidden. But there, it's a lovely scarf. I used Debbie Bliss Donegal Luxury Tweed in Aran Weight, and it worked up really quickly, I use 3 50-gram balls and a 7mm hook, and it's just a crossed double treble in UK terms pattern. That's all these are. They're not raised stitches, they're just double trebles, and it works up quickly and it creates a nice snug scarf. It's got a lovely feel to it, and it's obviously too warm now. I'm going to take it off already. But yeah, so I did the video, like I say, I did the video, did another couple of bits and pieces, and released the pattern on Tuesday. I'm going to say Tuesday this week. So it's now up on Lovecrafts, on Ravelry, and on my website, and you can find it in all those places. And you can give me a shout if you've got any questions. Maybe you've got some yarn in your stash and you're wondering if it would be suitable before you go and buy the pattern. That's fine, you can reach out to me. The best place is Instagram, where I am marta.mitchell.designs. You get the fastest answer from me there. So that's that one. Tweed with a twist scarf. And I'm chuffed with that. The photo shoot did go really well. We went to Ferry Harbour, which is a town, a couple of towns towards Dundee, and it's got a lovely harbour, and there was a lovely iron hoop, I guess, for tying something up. It was near the lifeboat station, and it had all rusted, and the rust had gone down the wall, and I actually threaded the scarf through, and we got some great photos there, so I'm pleased with those. So thank you to my eldest Neil for that. I'm glad that one it's finally out in the world. So I was mentioning there about reaching out to me on Instagram, which Elise did recently, because she was having trouble with my scrappy blanket too, and she was just having a bit of bother with the placement of the puff stitches. Can you see them here? And I said to her, right, I'll get back to you on that. Monday and Tuesday I was actually really busy, and I told her I would get back to her probably Wednesday, and I would actually make a video, a full video showing exactly how to work the pattern repeat for that one. So I did that yesterday, and as I started, I don't know why I'm putting that blanket on my knee, it's warm. As I started, I realised there was actually a tiny error in the pattern. I was trying to work my little sample, and I was going crazy trying to work it out, and I'm not sure how that crept in, because it had been tested, that one. I didn't get it tech edited because it's a very simple repeat. I did get it tested by 3 testers, and I'm not blaming them, not by any means. These things happen, and it was just an extra chain that had sneaked in. So I have sorted that, and I have put, I think it's about a 7 or 8 minute length video up on YouTube, and that one is not unlisted. I've just made it a public one because the blanket pattern itself is free. So I've put the video up on YouTube. You can watch that and see if you want to make the blanket. And the link, it's kind of a loop. The blog has the YouTube link, and the YouTube link has the link to the blog post. And it is also on Ravelry as a free download as well, if you'd rather have it printed out as a PDF. You can get it on Ravelry for free. That's the only other site. So it's on Ravelry and it's on my blog. If you search Scrappy Blanket, you will find it. Find me first on Ravelry, because there's possibly other scrappy blankets, and I am there as Marta Mitchell Designs on Ravelry. You'll find me there. Okay, so this one, I'm happy with that now. It's given it a wee re-release as well, so thank you for reaching out to me, Elise. It's always lovely to hear from you, whether you're getting in touch to say that you're enjoying the pattern and here's a picture, or whether it's an issue you've got. You know, I'm happy to get back to you and sort that out. I'm generally busy at the start of the week, and but middle of the week I definitely respond to these things and look into them. I mean, I'll get back to you straight away, but if it's a more complex thing like the placement of the stitches, that blanket was back in January, so I couldn't quite get my head around, you know, to just type away an answer. If it was a recent pattern, I would probably be able to just say, oh yes, it's, and get back to you quickly. But if it's something more complex, then you may have to wait a few days, but I will respond and let you know that that's the case. Okay. And my next scrappy blanket, I've worked quite a bit on. Let me find my marker. This end. Have we got the marker? Yes, there's the marker. So I've done possibly a bit more than I did in the previous 2-week periods. I've done from the marker up to here, and we've got some bright colours. I like the pink and yellow combo, and we've got quite a lot of muted colours as well. I quite like the way it's working out. I love, I realise I've got a bit of a theme with orangey browns and turquoise. That's crept in a few places. Can I see it here? Yeah. Around here. We can see it. And oh yeah, there, more clearly. I do like that combo together. But yeah, this one is, if I pull back, it's getting big. Probably, I haven't measured it, but I'm guessing it's about close to the halfway point, which is good. Oh, the dog's just sighed. It was big enough for the two of us to fit under. The other night it got a bit chilly in the evening and I managed to get her and me under it, and it was cozy. So this one I'm working up in double knitting weight. The previous one was in 4-ply, although the pattern's written for any ply you like, and I'll do the same with this one. I'm making it in DK or 8-ply, but I'll go ahead and I'll work out the pattern for all the other yarn thicknesses, and that one will be free on my blog probably the autumn. I think by the time I finished it and got some pictures, I think it'll be autumny time, and that'll go out to you. The best place to make sure that you don't miss these kind of releases is to sign up to my mailing list, and I shall put the link to that in the description. And anything else that I'm waffling on about, links will be in the description for those as well, so that's where you'll find those. Okay, shall we move on to some happy mail? I got a couple of things this week. Firstly, I got my copy of Yarn, which is a new magazine publication. Susan, who is the publisher, Susan Anderson, she says you can call it what you like. Is it a magazine? Is it a publication? It is quite thick. It's got patterns. It's got loads of articles on various things. There's a big bit about the tapestry of Scotland in it, and a bit on sheep and sheep breeds. It's a lovely read. It smells amazing. It's printed on that lovely paper with the that lovely just published smell. I really like it. And as you can see on the cover, it's a mix. There's knitting, there's crochet, this is a gorgeous waterfall cardigan in granny squares, and is that one a shawl? I can't quite remember. There's a pair of mitts as well, fingerless mitts, crocheted as well. So a bit of knitting, bit of crocheting, and there's a bit of, I think they call it crewel work. I'm gonna make sure I say that right. Here we go. You need an embroidery hoop. Oh, I can't remember. But here it is. I'll maybe give you more of an idea. So some stitching. We shall call it hand stitching. And that's really lovely. Oh, here's the mitts. There we've got the mitt design. So definitely a good read. It is. Oh, that was it. It's a tank top in that pattern. I could not remember off the top of my head. And all the designs have been worked in a couple of colourways. So, I mean, here's a knitting one, for example. There is a colourway based on sort of sea theme, beach, calm, sand, and there's a theme based on the tapestry of Scotland, which is in Galashiels. I haven't actually been to see it. I'm just going to try and find you a picture of it. Is it right at the start? Here we go. Yeah, it's right at the start. In Galashiels, there is this big tapestry that was it's in, I know, there's a picture of the whole gallery right at the start. Here we go. It's all sorts of bits of tapestry, and the great thing about it is it was worked on by lots of different members of the public, maybe stitching groups, embroidery groups, that kind of thing, and it was worked on by I think 1,000 people, which is lovely. It's got all sorts of panels that represent Scotland's history. I haven't actually read the article yet, but that in a nutshell is what I know about it. and that's in Galashiels, which is in the south of Scotland, close to the border with England. So I would definitely recommend you get your hands on this. You can find this on Instagram, find the Susan's account, and I think it's just Journal of Scottish Yarns. Again, I shall put it in the description and you'll be able to find her there and follow, because there's lots of lovely photos, and I'm sure once the hype of this one has died down, I'm sure Susan will be starting to share little bits and pieces of what's going to be in the next issue. I think it's going to be a twice a year publication, so this one came out late spring and I think the next one's going to come out late autumn. So I'm going to enjoy this. I'm going to settle down over the weekend and read some of those lovely articles. And the other thing that came in the mail was the yarn for the Estival MCAL, which is what I was talking about in the last podcast. It's a mystery crochet along designed by Joanne Grace of the Crochet Project, and there is yarn which has been dyed by Vicky Brown Designs. You can buy the kit. I bought these two. There are 3 colourways. There's a sort of green and creamy one. There's this one, and there's a blue and creamy yellow, I think. I can't remember off the top of my head. This was my favourite one. So I went for this one and I got that. Hubby ordered it for me and that arrived just on Monday there as well. And it is Kid Silk Fluff. It's 69% silk, 22% kid mohair and 9% polyamide, and it is 100 grams. And do you know what? I've never worked with mohair before. Never. Ever. It's not something that I would normally choose. I'm not that keen on the mohair look, but I really like it worked in. Let's see if I can unwind one. Worked in with the silk. It kind of tames it down a bit and gives it a bit more of a sheen. Let's see if I can find a single piece, single strand. So yeah, beautiful colours. You can see there now that's opened up a bit. Lovely colours, and it just feels so soft. So Vicky Brown has teamed up with the Crochet Project and produced the yarn in these kits. I do know that the green and cream one has been sold out, but I think you can dye it to order, but that won't be shipped until just before the CAL starts. And like I was saying in the last podcast, this pattern is only going to be available, it's a shawl by the way, and it is only going to be available in the Crochet Project hub. And I have an affiliate link to that if you want to find that in the description, and you can get £3 off for your first 3 months membership with the code HUBINTRO. So you'll find that in the description. So it'll be a membership and it's £5 a month, and for the introductory period it's just £2 a month, which is a great deal. And I think there's so much great things in that hub. There are stitch dictionaries, there are tutorials, there's loads of crochet tips and advice, including how to work with mohair. That's where I was going when I was mentioning that, because it can be a bit of a pig to frog is one thing that I do know. If you've made a mistake, because let's come in, can you see all these fine hairs? Although the fact that this one is blended with silk apparently does help. But Joanne shares tips for working with it, including popping it in the freezer. Who knew? So all that is in the hub, and I think it's a beautiful space that Joanne has created, and yeah, I think it's going to be really good for sharing as we work away on the project together. And there are 2 shawl designs up there as well already, so as soon as you're in, there are 2 shawl designs too. And that's, I think, moving forward, assuming this all goes well, which I think it will, I think that's where Joanne is going to be releasing future MCALs as well, because she does a few a year. And I can't wait for this one. So I hope some of you are going to join in with that as well. Let me know in the comments if you're going to be joining in, and if you're going to be using Vicky Brown's yarn Oh, if you do join the hub, you'll see that there is a coupon for 10% off kits as well. So yeah, ta-da! It's so lovely. I'm going to get it wound up this week so that I'm ready. It starts on the 8th of July, I think is correct. Early July, anyway. I think it's the 8th. So a wee while yet to have a think. You could stash dye if you don't have to use the specified yarn. You will need 2 skeins. I'm going for a contrast in them. I guess you could probably do it all in one colour if you want. Bit of a contrast in them, and I guess 4-ply, because this is 4-ply. I don't think I did actually say that. This is 4-ply and it has mohair and silken, but I guess you could go with pure mohair or possibly a light cotton, possibly, depending on how that cotton is finished. If you're looking for a vegan yarn, a light cotton would possibly work. I don't want to say that for sure, but it would possibly work. I have done a couple of shawls in light cotton to varying success. So it depends on how tight the spin is on it and whether it's mercerized or not. So you probably wouldn't want a mercerized cotton because that seems to give it a bit more stability. The cotton I used, I can't even remember what it was. I think I got a ton of it in a charity shop, and it was probably even slightly lighter than 4-ply, and I worked a shawl in that and it worked fine. So all trial and error, I guess, with crochet, isn't it? You could always work it up and see if it works. Do a wee gauge swatch and see what you think. Quick glug of tea. I don't know if you can hear, but there's a blue bottle. Oh, there's 2 blue bottles going round and round over on my windows. They're probably not quite picking up on the camera, but if the dog suddenly goes into crazy mode, it's probably because she's decided she's had enough of them and she wants to catch them and eat them. So I'm going to move on to something I've barely even shared on Instagram, and that is a flower pot holder that I'm making. I've just designed it myself. I started at the base, worked round and round. When I got to here, I switched to back loop only, just to give it that that fold, I guess. It's probably not the word I'm looking for. To give it that edge. You can just skip that stage, but this bit will be really rounded. So I went for that. If I take the pot out, you'll see what I mean actually. You see how it's still keeping, and that's not just because it was in the pot for ages. The pot's been in it. It keeps it shaped down the bottom. So that just gives it that shape. And I'm working this one in 4-ply, and it is cotton, and I cannot remember what, because there was 2 little oddballs that I had in my stash. They were a bit bigger than this, obviously. I do know it's from Australia. It's left over from some bunting that I designed for Crate Crochet's subscription box. So that's what that came from. And yeah, so I've just worked the plant pot. It's going to be a hanging one, so I've got to the top of the pot, and I was thinking of putting 3 or 4 buttons, just sewing them onto here, and then having crocheted straps that go up and over, and then they'll fasten on with the buttons, is my idea. I'm just kind of going with it as I go, and I might write up the pattern and let you know how you can work to the shape. So it'd be a pattern that would fit any pot. You know, I'll just give you the instructions for starting and then when to stop and do your back loop only, and then to just keep trying it on, because that's all I did. I just kept trying it on the pot, and either it was going straight up and it didn't need any increases, or oh, we're going out a bit, I'll do a round of increases, and then I worked straight again, and then I did more increases, and that is basically how I worked it all the way up. And I worked I did yarn unders, which I learned recently in amigurumi. So I did yarn unders for it to really give it stability, and it just changes the look of it, and your stitches don't slant quite as much as they would. Do you see how they've got a slight slant on them? If you do yarn under, they tend to be a bit more upright, which I quite like as well. And I really like the texture actually that yarn under gives. It's quite cool. So that's that one. I don't know why I haven't really shared it on Instagram. I've been quite busy on there, just doing a few funny reels and things, which seem to have gone down well, and brought my reach back up. Because I don't know about anyone else on Instagram, but I found my reach it plummets, and then it goes up again, and then if you look at the graph of it over the last 3 months, it's absolutely all over the place. So one week I'm doing well and I have lots of reach and engagement, and then the next week just so very up and down, very unpredictable. I don't know if it's because they've brought in the new way that you can follow people. You can have favourites feed, your home feed and your follower feed. I'm not sure if it's to do with that and people switching about, trying and seeing what they like. Could well be. I know I have changed it a couple of times myself, what I'm choosing to follow. I have changed that just to see what the difference is. So it's possibly other folks doing that as well, and it just taken a while to settle. So we'll see. I have just started on TikTok as well, much to my didn't really want to do it, but I know that other crochet designers are getting great reach on there, so I have delved in. I've put up a couple of videos. I am just the same on there, marta.mitchell.designs, and if you're on TikTok you go and have a look and follow me there. I'll put a link to that below as well. So just dipping my toe in that one. I have not really sussed it all out. I tend to just throw videos up and then run, so Instagram is still my favourite place. So we'll leave that one there, and I want to talk about a couple of cardigans. This cardigan is a design that I started back in 2016, 17, one of those years. No, 2015 I began this. It didn't have these cords, so we'll tuck them out of the way. It had a button band with buttons when I first designed it. You can still see that cord. Tuck away cord. So this cardigan I have made, designed, I have crocheted up. This is the 13th, this is the 14th. And I was just never entirely happy with it. It hasn't been sent to testers, but I have written it out for 3 sizes, baby sizes, 0 to 3 months, 3 to 6 and 6 to 12, and I'll probably add in a 12 to 18 because I'm happy with it at last. I'm happy, and if I've gone for those 3 sizes, I might as well throw in the next size up as well. It wouldn't be too much extra maths. But the thing that was bugging me was the fact that, I get it to sit flat, the neckline, I just could not get to sit down. So the neckline was sitting, it didn't even have that little V tuck there. The neckline was sitting at the same height as the back and was just so high up, it really, really annoyed me. And I guess just nipping back into it, I was just having a look at my unpublished patterns folder. I do have a few unpublished things in there, that ideas that I've started and then abandoned for whatever reason. So I looked in at this one because I've actually got model photos of it. My niece modelled it for me back in summer of 2017. Yes, she was born in 2017 in the January, so it would be late summer 2017. There's pictures of her wearing it, and the pictures, fortunately, are taken at the back. So I can still go with those photos because I didn't change anything on the back. You wouldn't notice it. I changed it all on the front here. I've just altered the way that I start with, yeah, I'm not going to bore you with details of how I worked it out, but I did. I guess just going back to it years later, I have learnt more in crochet. I've worked a few more cardigans, I've knitted some more, and I just learned about the shaping. So then, instead of the button band as well, I had the idea of adding in these I-cord fasteners. and it's a mix of crochet and, I'm going to say knitting, but you could just use a tapestry needle. You could use a plastic one, would be ideal actually. And they're just to hold your stitches as you're working. So it's mostly done with a crochet hook. And if you've got one, a knitting needle will help, or just a tapestry needle. And of course I will be doing a video on how to do that. These are still a little bit bumpy because I was learning. I'm going to do a bigger length of it until I get really comfortable with the technique, and then I'll make a video. And as for the pattern writing, that has gone really well. I've just got a couple of things to sort, and it's the bottom half of the body. So we've done all the tricky parts. Excuse me. We have done. Sorry, I've done the sleeves. I've done the yoke. I've even done the ties. I've done the button. I'm going to call it a button band. There's basically a border. Goes all the way around just to neaten up the edge. I'll show you that there. So I've done all that. It's just a case of working out the length for the body of the cardigan really, and then it will be good to go to testing. I'm going to push through on this one, get it out to testing next week, I would think. No, I'm going to get it tech edited first, so it's nice and easy to read for my tester. So I will book a slot with my tech editor. I'll show you the other one. And I'll get on with that next week. So this one is a 0 to 3 month size, and I worked this one in double knitting. I used just a couple of balls of Schackenmeyer Merino Extra Fine 120, and that worked well. I like the stitch definition in that. So I've done that one because it is written for a double knitting, and then I wanted to make the largest size. This one is 6 to 12 months, but as I say, I'll probably add in the next size up. But I didn't have enough double knitting yarn, so I went and made it in 4-ply. So I'm following the instructions for the largest size, but I'm doing it in 4-ply, which will still work in terms of maths and things. It's ended up the same size as the little one. So I'm going to add that. You know, in my patterns there is always a take this idea and make it your own section at the bottom. So one of the ideas I'm going to definitely put in is change your yarn thickness and you change the size of your cardigan. So yeah. Well, the other one is in short sleeves, but I have written the pattern for short and long sleeves. This one doesn't have its sleeves inserted yet. And I'm almost at the bottom of the body. And I'll just need to work out exactly how many rows I need to do, and then we'll finish that up in the next few days, and I will get it sent on, tech edited, tested, and like I say, I do have a good model photo, so I think I'll go with that one. It's a lovely one. My niece is sitting in the park with her back to you, but her head's tilted a little bit, and I'm just going to go with that, and I'll add in multiple photos of the cardigan just laid flat and things like that. I'll get some flat lay photos done, and that'll be that. So I'm really chuffed with that one. Yeah, chuffed to get a little garment design out, because I have put it on the back burner, but it is still my idea to go on a course and learn how to gauge for making adult cardigans and jumpers. So I am definitely going to be doing that, because I have lots of ideas for cardigans. So I'm quite confident just working 3 or 4 sizes for a baby cardigan. But although I have 2 cardigans, adult size cardigans, I don't put them on my website because they are not size inclusive. They go up to an extra large, and I want to be more size inclusive than that. So I tend not to publicize them too much. They are up there. There's a summer one, which was actually in Inside Crochet magazine a good few years back, and I have my Isla cozy polo, that rainbow one that I wear all the time in the winter. So that one is available as well. Both of them are on Ravelry and Lovecrafts, but I have to admit that they are not as size inclusive as I like them to be. But you can go and check them out if they are in sizes that will suit you. So yeah, I'd like to go back and add in more sizes for those and do a bit of training, learn how to grade them, and make them more size inclusive for you guys. And then I'll get on to more garment design, which would be good. Now I think I have one last thing to share, and I've just been writing about it in an email to my mailing list, because mailing list fans get first news on this, and although I'm sharing it here, I'm not going to give you guys as much info as has gone out to my mailing list. So I don't think I shared this. It's got crumpled. I don't think I shared this in my last podcast, but I am working with an illustrator, and the illustrator is Katie Gammy, who is Katie Birdie Does on Instagram, and she is an illustrator who lives in Fife, which is just over the water from me. And although we haven't met, we have video called, and we have lots of mutual friends, which is funny. So it's been lovely to work with her. I gave her the brief to design something using her theme. She does a lot of things with wildlife, plants, flowers, butterflies and bees. So I just wanted something that has maybe flowers, bees, butterflies, up to her kind of thing, because I wanted it to be open, and I didn't want her to be too constricted by the brief. And this is what I've chosen. So it's a foxglove, for those of you who are maybe unfamiliar with this flower, and this comes up everywhere sort of August, September time. Certainly in Scotland, August, September, you will see that flower in fields, wild spaces, in gardens as well, because although there's the sort of common one, you can get them in lots of pretty colours as well for your garden. And there are two bees, so there's the big one here, and there's a little one down here. And so that was the first step, was working with the illustrator. The second step is that I reached out to a yarn dyer and I asked them to dye some yarn based on the illustration. And this week I got this in the post. This is a lovely skein of yarn from Liv at the Wool Shed. Can I come in on that? Although it's probably reversed. At the Wool Shed, don't worry, I will put links to these people in my description. And Liv, did I say Liz? I think I did. It's Liv, sorry. Sorry, Liv, if you're watching. Designed this for me based on the illustration. I'm going to unravel it and let you see. Here we are. So it's going to be speckly. It is speckly. And it's going to be absolutely perfect for crocheting. So my next step is that I'm going to design something based on this yarn and based on Katie's illustration. So I'm going to put the two things together and work a design using that. And that is all I'm going to say here, because I've given away a little bit more information to my mailing list, and VIPs in my mailing list get first dibs on all things Marta Mitchell Designs before I... I've done a rubbish job. There we go. Before I let everyone else know. So you need to be on my mailing list if you want to be in my circle of people that I share these kind of things with, and I will put the link to that in the description. I email out a couple of times a week, generally on a Tuesday. It's a shorter, quicker thing, possibly with, this Tuesday, for example, I might just put out an email saying latest podcast episode's now up, short paragraph about it, and that'll be it. And on the Friday, it tends to be a more in-depth article, email, I'll call it an email, with a bit more of what I'm doing. I wouldn't say it was so much a newsletter, it tends to just be on the one topic, so perfectly readable in a couple of minutes, with links to anything that I've been talking about in there. And the biggest discount codes are on, or in my mailing list emails as well. So if you want more information on that, definitely head into my mailing list. Have I plugged it enough? Have I gone on about the mailing list enough? I think I have. So I cannot wait to dive in and start designing in this. I want to finish the cardigan I was just showing you, it's almost done. I think I should be able to get that finished in the next couple of days. And I've also got a sock design that I'm working on, and I'll probably finish that early next week, all going well. And then I'm going to dive in and start on this new design, and I'll bring you more news on that in the next episode. So I think I've been super busy in the last couple of weeks. I have had a bit of extra time, I think, to crochet. There was one day last week I just took a whole afternoon and crocheted, which was really good. So I am looking forward to some more of that, just planning my time a bit better and making sure that I've got time to crochet and not all the other stuff that comes with being a small business owner. So I hope you've enjoyed that chat this afternoon or morning or evening, wherever you are. It's Thursday the 16th of June, and I'm going to go and start uploading, downloading and popping this together, and I'll get it up on YouTube for you. That's all for now. See you in a couple of weeks. Bye.